Hey guys, happy Sunday and feliz Día de los Muertos. So happy Day of the Dead, the Day of the Dead celebration, celebrating all of our ancestors, family, and friends, and pets, and everyone who's come before us. So I hope you guys are having a glorious Sunday. Let me know what you guys have cooked up for today, or maybe some interesting happenings from the past week, interesting dreams or astral travels, meditations, downloads, healings. Let us know all about it. But before we go even further, let me tell you a little bit about me. I am Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can learn a little bit more by checking out that information box down below, checking out my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com, maybe checking out the witchy shop, Desert Cauldron, over on Etsy, maybe looking for ways to help support the channel. Well, first and foremost, become a subscriber and join us here during these Sunday live chats, checking out our Monday videos and all that good stuff. But you could also check out my Patreon page, which is also linked down below, checking out my YouTube membership, and maybe even signing up for the newsletter. I put a newsletter out on the first of every month. I don't play the spam game, so all you get is one cool, witchy, magical newsletter on the first of every month. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day. As you could tell by the title, today is dedicated to Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. And then we will do our weekly reading, and we'll still do our super chats and super stickers, and we'll still do our guided meditation. But I wanted to honor not only my family members, but yours as well. So as you can see, I'm all dressed up. I didn't really get to do my face like a calavera, like a sugar skull, but I did try to put like some white face powder, but it just kind of dulled me a little bit. I don't quite got the whole spooky vibe, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I have this bodysuit that I got some time ago on Dolls Kill's website. But yeah, it's like a full length, like skeleton bodysuit. And I have this like see-through skirt. I don't know if you guys could see. Just like, woo! To go with like the ethereal look. So anyway, I am going to be lighting up my altar here. As you could see, I have, well, some of you guys were here, was it on Friday for our Halloween special. I hope you guys had fun with that. But I kind of showed off some of the pictures, but it was kind of dark, so you guys couldn't really see. But I have like my friends down here at the bottom. I have a lot of my family members kind of all right here. I'm going to be lighting up the final candle for the week of Dia de los Muertos. It started on the 27th, and that was honoring our pets, specifically dogs and cats, but of course all other pets that have crossed the rainbow bridge, because it is believed that our animal companions are the ones that come for us when we cross over, and they help to guide us to the other side. And so we do honor them. They were our companions in life. They continue to be our companions after death. And so I have over here, my little ofrenda for our animal friends there. And I think I need to get more candles for them, but okay, we'll light them up when I light up my family members here. But I have lots of goodies on here. I have lots of glasses of water because each day it's a different honoring of different types of souls. So we say we honor the lonely souls, and so we put a white rose out for them, and light a candle so that they feel comforted, the ones that are just chilling out here on earth. And then we do honor those that feel hopeless or they feel forgotten, meaning that their name is no longer spoken. Perhaps it's been hundreds of years and their lineage has kind of forgotten about them. And so we say, we don't forget about you. And we continue to light candles. We leave out a glass of water for them. And then we have the ones who we say died of, let's say, starvation or, things like that. And so we leave out a little bit of food for them, possibly some bread, like some pan de muerto, which I did make some pan de muerto. And actually, that was my first time making it by myself. My family has made it before, and I think it did okay, So Let's say 850X says, hello, Tara. What exercises, spiritual routines do you do to help keep you in a positive state? I think just kind of being outdoors, just grounding and, talking to not only the animals that are around here, the wild animals, but, my friend has some dogs that stay with us. So it's kind of nice to have animals around and being around all the trees. And, there's bunches of little potted plants as well, too. But I think just really reconnecting to, I don't know, plants and animals around me really seem to ground me and bring me back to center, especially if I'm feeling like overwhelmed by a lot of stuff. It just kind of, it brings me back. So, yeah, great question, by the way. Easy Does It says, hello, everyone. What's up? And then Easy Does It says, everything is pretty. Well, thank you. Thank you. I hope that my ancestors are enjoying it. And Riley says, hola, todos mis amigos. Gina says, hello, Riley. So yeah, I put out some water, and then on Halloween, so it was the 31st, we honored our ancestors. We honored our great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents. And you might be wondering, well, is there like 2 days that we're honoring ancestors? So those are like our ancestors. So the ancestors that go way back, we leave out a piece of fruit for them. So I've left out an orange. I also have a plate of food that I left out, and then on the 1st, we honored the angelitos, the niños, so all children who have passed away. And usually we put out a huge spread of food. I was kind of careful about putting out the food because, like I said, we do have dogs running around, and the dogs sometimes get into some mischief, and I didn't want them eating all the offerings for my ancestors. But I did have a plate. I'm sorry, I kept the saran wrap over it, but it looks just like this. So this is actually half of the pan de muerto that I made. The other half I gave to my ancestors today, my family members, my immediate family members, and my friends. So I kind of cut it in half. I also have maritos, which are like the little piggies. Like they kind of look like gingerbread-y, pumpkin-y, like little pigs like you see in the pan dulce aisles of your grocery stores. And then I also found some pumpkin empanadas at our local grocery store. I was like, oh, they would love that. So I left that out for them. And then, check it out. Ooh, I forgot. I have some recipes to put into the description. So after today's live chat, I'm going to put the recipe for ponche and the recipe for champurrada, which is what I made today. And I'll show you what that is. But, oh yeah, and I also put out, this is so cute. I think this is a little liquor glass, but I put a little bit of wine in there. I thought, my family members might like that. And then over here, in this glass, I have some ponche for them. And so basically it's a special type of punch that we have around the holidays. So, Dia de los Muertos and Thanksgiving and Christmas. And most of the time people like it at Christmas time, but I thought my relatives might like it. And so basically it's like guava and pears and oranges and cloves, cinnamon, apples. There was some other stuff in there, and you just like let it simmer for half an hour to an hour. Oh, it is so spicy good. It's really good. I'm so glad that we have leftovers because I'm gonna have some more today. But I left that out for them. And then in this coffee mug, which I'm borrowing from Riley, and here you can see it. That's my champurrada. So it is a special type of hot chocolate. And it's, I guess you could have it all year if you wanted to. Technically, if you wanted to make pan de muerto on some day that wasn't Dia de los Muertos, you could. I don't know. I think that it's kind of nice to keep things that are, just particular for your family members. But what makes that special hot chocolate, which I am having right here. Okay, so do you guys know the Abuelita, like hot chocolate tablets that you find at the grocery store. So you get that. And then you get some like Mexican cinnamon sticks. So sometimes when you buy cinnamon sticks, they're like this big, but if you get the Mexican ones, which are Ceylon cinnamon sticks, they're like this big. You know, they're really big. They're like really thick. Really good for like steeping and everything. So you get some water, like 6 cups of water, 2 tablets of Mexican hot chocolate, the Abuelita, 1 giant cinnamon stick, and piloncillo is like brown sugar. So you could put just like a half a cup of brown sugar in there, or you can do the piloncillo. And that's about 3 to 4 ounces of it. So I just put like 2 cones, let that melt in there. And then you get some corn flour, so some masa harina, and you mix that with 2 cups of water, like really get the egg beaters in there and just like really beat it up so there's no clumps. And then you pour that into the hot chocolate and it makes it into this like really thick, sweet chocolate. It's super good. Gina says, "Yum, good work." I was like, all right, you know, I did okay. Oh yeah, it's very thick and it's a little chewy because there is corn flour in there. But that's what makes it so good. It's like melted cornbread. It's chocolate and really sweet. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. That is good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna light up my candles, and today I also have some. I have a bunch of different resins in here, but I'm gonna get my copal out because technically, that is traditionally what you would burn for your family members on Dia de los Muertos, the day of. Tomorrow, you would burn a little bit more incense, and you would burn 1 more candle and just say a prayer, asking your ancestors to come back next year and just like sending them off. Thank you for joining me for this week, coming into my home. And coming into my home, they did, because the uptick in spiritual activity, spirit activity, has been quite noticeable. You know, things bumping around, moving, electronics acting funky. So I know that my family members are here, my friends, and hopefully they've enjoyed everything and hopefully they come back next year. So that's the little prayer that we say for them tomorrow. Let's see, Riley says, "Yum, chocolate flavored cornbread." Easy Does It says, "Sounds good." Oh, yeah. And Riley got to have some. He said he liked it. He liked the champurrado. Okay, so let's go ahead and light up these candles. Haha. So I'm gonna get first candle here is our center candle. And then maybe Riley can get some of the tea lights that are in the tub area so I could light up some candles for our pets, because I forgot to get some new candles out. All right, so we have another candle going. And we try to have white candles because white represents just purity, all of that. Oh, thank you. Okay, and then we light this candle down here. I like this candle. It's like the dream catcher. I feel like that's for my Pima ancestors. All right, and then this center candle, I don't know if you guys can see. I got that at the dollar store. Isn't that rad? It's an actual heart. And when you burn it, it's supposed to look like it's bleeding. So I thought my relatives would get a kick out of that. They got a weird sense of humor like me. Or I should say I got it from them. So, okay. So we got that going. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here. And we're going to light up for the animals. Right over there. Okay. So let me get 3 little dealy bobs. I'm going to replace their candles here. Do, 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 do. Hello, Presley. Hello, Precious. Hello, Rex. And my birdies that I've had before, Georgie and Rosie. My canary and my parakeet. Okay, so their candles are going over there. We have these candles going on over here. All right. So let me light also my copal. Okay, so in here, there you guys go. Waverly Free says, hey, chat. Hey, how are you? All right, so I got this cool, like, little cast iron burner when I was in Idlewild with Riley visiting some friends. And I saw this in a shop, and I had already seen something like this online before. And I was like, well, I don't know if I should get it. Then I saw it again in the lady shop. The name of her shop was Hidden Grotto. Her name is Erin. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just love her energy, everything. I was like, you know what? I want to support her business. So I'm going to go ahead and get one of these. So I have in here a like quick start piece of charcoal. So I'm actually going to put that over this bleeding heart here. And I'm going to get this nice and hot. You'll start to see it spark. Oh, I put out the candle because it started sparking. Oh, all right. Then I will do it up here. Maybe this candle won't be such a wuss. Ha ha ha. All right, it's starting to spark up. It's getting nice and hot. I like these charcoals because they start quick. I don't have to like be over the fire for ever and a day. Okay, I feel like that's sufficiently hot. Okay, so I just put it right in here. And hang that off my cauldron. Okay, so now I'm gonna find some copal. Actually have some right in here. So we're gonna pour some of that onto the little briquette. Ooh. And hopefully my family and friends are gonna enjoy the scent. So I'm gonna put this on top. Very nice. Ooh, smells wonderful. Easy Does It says, add my dog Pupsy, please. She was the size of a bear. Oh, wow. What a name for a bear-sized dog, Pupsy. All right, Pupsy as well. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you guys to do, and Easy Does It, beat me to it. Okay, there we go. All right, and there's some food over there too, so we got some incense going. So in the chat, if you would like to please add the names of all family, friends, animals that you would like to be added to this this ofrenda, then go ahead and put their names there, because it is believed in our culture. It's this Dia de los Muertos is kind of a mix of like Mayan, Aztecan, and Catholicism. And so it's, you know, the Indios, a mixture of like the native energies and later on the Spanish energies to create Dia de los Muertos. But it's believed that when we stop speaking the names of the dead, they become forgotten. And so that's why we say their names over and over. That's why we talk about them for a whole week. We're inviting in their energies to say, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. Your energy is always welcome here. And so we continue to say the names of our pets. We continue to say the names of our friends and our family members, So go ahead, like I said, put the names of your friends, your family, your animals, everybody who's crossed over, and invite them to this ofrenda. Kayla's here. She says, hi, Tara. Hey, Kayla. Okay. And so this little paper that you see, this little folded heart, which I learned to do little message folding origami when I was in high school. But what I do in here is I open this up once a year, and in here are the names of everybody who has passed away in my personal life. So I say their names on Dia de los Muertos, which would be today, just to let them know that I remember them, I honor them, I love them, and hopefully they enjoy all the goodies that I've put out. All right, so Gina has posted Jason, Steve, Phyllis, Tom, Virginia, Frank, Anne, and Randall. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Easy Does It says, my twin flame king, his birthday was October 25th, so just had a birthday. Okay, so almost finished opening this up, and it takes me forever to figure out how to fold it back up again because I'm a little out of practice. So I'm not folding notes and passing them when the teacher isn't looking anymore. But there we go. That's my little list of animals and friends. Okay. Laren says, my dog Sky and two other dogs named Carmen and Sonia. All right. So keep adding those names, you guys. Keep adding those names. Get my feet unstuck from my skirt here. Okay. And the incense smells wonderful. Oh, yeah. It's a cooking. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. Okay, here are my names. Grandma, Nana, Uncle Red, Tabitha, Margaret, Aunt Ruth, Father Paul, Cousin Selena, Cousin Michael, Uncle Mal, Uncle Larry, Uncle Fred, Auntie Caroline, Tony Gutierrez, Bob Kennedy, Carter Yarborough, Joanne, Presley, Precious, Brandy Ruiz, Joyce Levine, Grandpa, Lolo Egipto, Lota, Kathy Knight, Heidi Williams, Duke, Aunt Betty and Uncle Ross, Coach BR, Aunt Janice, Miss Rogerta, Cousin Greg, Rex, and Tamron Brown. All right. We have some more names here to add to this ofrenda. Eco, Arthur, Caroline, Brendan, Earl, Esther, and Eleanor. Riley has Bill, Gretchen, Nap, Thor, Duke, Chaco, Martha, Rocky, Gunner, and Jaffo. Easy Does It has Keona, Rose, Jay, Darren, Grandma Rose, Aunt Vicky, Boots, Jimmy, and Henry. All right, keep them coming, you guys. I'll be more than happy to read their names, continue to add them to this ofrenda. And if you want to share any stories about the names that you have listed, any of the people or the animals, again, that just invites them in. It keeps their spirit alive. Of course, we know that the spirit is eternal, but alive in the 3D sense as well. You know, keep them on our lips. You know, keep them in our hearts. Keep talking about them. Keep sharing their stories, sharing their memories. All right, so a toast to my friends and family, and to yours as well. And I'm going to light up this cigar for Lolo Egipto, which is my dad's father. You would say Lolo for Filipinos. He loved his cigars. And my dad was like, he couldn't figure out. He's like, you like everything your grandfather likes. He's like, you're into all the herbs, you into all the spirituality and the healing and cigars. Like, he's like, you are my father. And I was like, sweet. All right. And the reason I like cigar when I'm working with my ancestors is because it is like the pure tobacco. Tobacco leaf is seen as very sacred. It's often given as offerings, but you think it has all the elements in it as well. So it has the smoke, which is air, fire, earth, which is the wrapper and tobacco itself. And what are we made of? Mostly water. So all right. And if you guys want to see what my Lolo looks like, I'll show you guys. So this is my Nana. And this is roughly like 1942, 1943, somewhere around there. That's my Lolo Egipto. That's my dad. And that's my Auntie Caroline, his sister. So they're about a year apart. But yeah, he was like almost every picture of him, except for this picture. He's got a cigar. Okay, let's show you some other pictures. Ooh, look. Oh, my heart's starting to bleed. My grandma would think that's so cool. And my Nana, actually. All right, and then in this picture, this is my great-grandma Aggie. And she's my Nana's mother. And that's my father. Sorry, that's my father up here. And that's his Uncle Harry. They're actually the same age. Because when my Nana was pregnant with her first child, my great-grandmother was pregnant with her last child. So, very interesting. Okay, other people here want to share with you guys. Let's see. Oh, Kayla also has Grandpa Sam. So hello to Grandpa Sam. Welcome, welcome to the ofrenda. Easy Does It says, I love cigars. Don't forget the sex appeal cigars can bring. Oh yeah, girl. Oh yeah. Okay. And then in this picture, this is my grandma and my grandpa. So this is my mom's mother and father. That's actually my brother and me. So I was probably like 12 there. I look like a stork. That was actually my nickname. My dad calls me Stork or Daddy Longlegs. But my grandma got teased for the same thing because she had long bony legs. All right. And then in here, and this was taken around my senior year. This was at the Pacific Islander Festival. This is my Uncle Mao. No, my Uncle Mao, technically he's not blood related. He was my dad's best friend. And so they actually look like brothers. So they would, my dad says back in the day when they were younger, before they met my mom or my dad's first wife, when they were off picking up girls, they would pretend to be brothers. And since my Uncle Mao is Hawaiian, my dad would be like, oh yeah, we're both from the Big Island, you know? So yeah, but my Uncle Mao passed away when I was in college. But he was a wonderful, wonderful person, very kind, very giving. Okay, this picture here was actually taken on my first birthday. So this is 1982, you guys. Kayla also says, Grandma Ann Barker. Welcome, Grandma Ann. So in here, we have my grandpa. We have my great aunt Ruth, which is my grandpa's aunt, actually. So I guess it's my great great aunt. Um, and then here we have my uh, Larry and what's Uncle Larry, and I'm trying to remember because she passed away actually a long time ago. Um, Oh no, I have her name down in here. It's not Betty. I keep wanting to call her my Aunt Betty, but I know that they have like a very similar name. Um, oh, Aunt Margaret. All right. And then, so this is my Uncle Larry. And then this is my Aunt Janice, which is my grandfather's sister. And then that's her daughter, Chastity, back there. And then down here, I have some friends actually. So this was taken in the dorms back when I was in college. This is my friend Anne Marie. She was my roommate. She's actually from Surrey, England. And that was her boyfriend at the time, JP. They actually ended up getting married. And he was a pilot, but he ended up passing away in a plane crash. But they had a wonderful son together, and gosh, how old is he now? I think he's almost in middle school, and his name's Landon. And this is my friend Tabitha, who passed away when I was in middle school, but she was such a light. Interesting story about her was before I had started middle school, this was like the end of 6th grade. Actually, like 6th grade had just gotten out. And so like I'm waiting to start 7th grade. And oops, I went out. I was at the school for something. I was with my mom, and I don't know, they were just like doing something. And my mom's friend, who was the choir teacher, came over, and they were both talking. And the choir teacher comes over. Her name was Miss Malay. And she's like, I have my niece is going to be coming to stay with me for a while. And she says, I was wondering if you could like show her around and if you could like be friends with her, when school starts, because she doesn't know anybody here. But she's been talking about you ever since I mentioned your name. She says that she remembers you from somewhere. And she's so happy because she's going to be able to see you again. And I was like thinking, I don't know a Tabitha. I was like, okay. And I'm like 12 at the time, And so she's like, well, let me go get her. She's in the car. And so she goes to get her. She comes out of the car, and I see this girl, big, beautiful blue eyes, blonde hair. And she comes running, like running, really running. And she's like, Tara, and her arms are open. And she's like, oh my gosh, I missed you. And I'm going, huh? And she runs over, she gives me the biggest hug, and she just like, it was like a really tight hug. She didn't want to let me go. She was like, I missed you so much. I'm so happy to see you again. She was like, oh my God, we're going to have so much fun together. And I was just like, who are you? But she had known me from somewhere. I have a feeling it was more like past life memory, because in reality, I had never met her before in this lifetime, but she seemed to remember me. And so I introduced her to my friends, and we, were in 7th grade for a bit. She had to they pulled her out of school towards the end of 7th grade because she had a tumor actually on her brainstem. So it was affecting her motor functions and things like that. And she passed away at the beginning of my 8th grade year. And I hadn't heard from her because I kept wanting to call her, but my mom, how parents are, they're not sure how children would deal with another child being sick or with death. So they decided the best course of action would be to keep me away from it. Like, don't let me know what's going on. Don't let me know that she's sick. And I remember that I was sitting in class in 8th grade. I don't even remember what class, but I know that I was in class, and I just started bawling my eyes out. And I said, Tabitha died. And the teacher thought I was looking for attention or trying to go to the bathroom. And she's like, you're not going anywhere. You got to just suck it up. And I was like, no, my friend died. And So she sent me to the office. They sent me to the nurse. I tried telling the nurse and the counselor what had happened. They didn't believe me. They thought that I was just trying to get out of class. And I was like, I'm not. I was like, I'm just telling you like what happened. So they call my mother. My mother comes to pick me up. My mom didn't confirm anything until I was in high school, like my junior or senior year. My mom was like, hey, remember when, I pulled you out of school because you were so upset you thought Tabitha had died? And I was like, yeah. I was like, how is she? Like, what's going on? My mom's like, well, in reality, she did die that day. And I don't know how you knew. She says, but I called your grandmother right away. And your grandmother said the best course of action would be to lie to you and to tell you that she was just fine. And I was like, wow, thanks. And she says, well, we didn't know, you were so young, and we didn't know how children could deal like with that. But every now and then I still feel Tabitha's spirit. And I know that when I cross over, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to run over to her and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I miss you. Haven't seen you in forever. Let's see, Riley says, if you have any photos you'd like to share, send them to pics@offairport.com. That's PIX@offairport.com. So Papa India X-ray, and he'll put them up. So that's awesome, you guys. So if you want to put in some pictures of your pets, your friends, your family, let's put them up here on the screen. Kayla also has Uncle Charlie and Harry and my grandma's brothers. And Easy Does It said, sweet story. Man, we've got so many family members coming in. Yay! Keep them coming, and keep photos coming too. I want to put photos up of your loved ones. This ofrenda is yours just as much as it is mine and my family. So bring them in. Whew. That actually goes really well with champurrada. Okay. I also want to share another friend, my friend Brandy Ruiz. I ran track and field with her for Long Beach State. She was our 400-meter hurdler. If any of you guys have ever run track or know anything about track and field, you know that 400 meters is one entire lap around the track. For some people, just jogging one lap around the track is hard enough, right? This girl is sprinting as fast as she can, but not only that, there is a hurdle in her way, many hurdles actually. So she's hurdling and sprinting all 400 meters. That is some lungs of steel, man. I mean, she's just like, she was a beast. And we would tell her that, beast mode. So my friend Brandy, she actually passed away from a large B-cell lymphoma. And that happened when she was 22. So I had, she was like a year or two behind me. So I had already graduated college. But I was still keeping in contact with my teammates from Long Beach. Oh, Kayla has some pets to add. Spooky, Jasmine, Love, Miko, and Max. Yay! So I had gotten a call from one of my friends saying that Brandy was sick and she was going to be doing like a bone marrow drive. So when I drove back, because at the time I was living in Orange County, so I drove back to Long Beach, and I was talking to her, and I came back for another thing too. It was like for all the alumni, we were getting like a special watch or something for, being on the track team. And so I was talking to her, and I remember we were all joking because she had this cool like white fedora, she had this white fuzzy blouse on, and these like leather jeans, and I was like, oh my God, you are Alicia Keys. And then she was like trying to sing, and she took off her hat, and her hair was like really short and curly, and I was like, when did your hair get curly? And she's like, well, after my chemo, all my hair fell out. And she says, and when my hair started growing back, it came back curly. She goes, I've never had curly hair before, but this is a trip, right? I was like, yeah. And we were like, oh my gosh, girl, you look so good. And so what was going on was she said that like she would stay after practice to keep practicing. She was like I said, she was a beast. She wanted to be the best at the 400-meter hurdles. She wanted her time to be, the best time that it could be for her. And so she would practice and practice. And she was noticing that she was getting really winded a little sooner than normal. And so she went to the doctors, and the doctor said, oh, you have asthma. And so gave her an inhaler, but it wasn't getting better. And so after like a few doctor's visits, they said, well, let's do an x-ray, because they hadn't done an x-ray. And they looked and they said, oh my gosh, you have a mass the size of a softball in your lung. And so it had collapsed one of her lungs. So this girl was running the 400-meter hurdles on one lung, and not complaining, not one bit, like, and then still remaining as sweet as possible, just like that, just crazy to me. So anyway, they decided to start chemo radiation right away. And they were able to shrink it a little bit, but then they had noticed that it had spread to all of her lymph nodes. And so they said, like, the last thing they were going to do was try to do a bone marrow transplant. So she would need to find a match. So that's why I was there, was for the whole bone marrow drive. It was opened up to like the whole community and everything. And her father, who I believe he was the chief of police for, was it El Segundo? I think it was El Segundo police, or it's either Cerritos or El Segundo. Anyway, so, and her mom was a teacher, I believe. So they were like, they had all these people from like her school district. They had like everybody from like the police departments and the other local police departments coming to like donate and get tested to see if they could be a donor. And she didn't find a match. But she was like, well, you know what? She says, if I can't find a match, she says, maybe somebody else will. So let's keep the bone marrow drive going in hopes that somebody else will be able to find a donor, even if I won't be able to find a donor. And so her dream, she says that one day if she were to get better, she wanted to continue track and field. She wanted to be a coach someday. And she wanted to be in sports medicine. So like a type of nurse, but also in sports medicine. She wanted to help as many people as possible. She did like so much volunteer work at her church. She was like working in like youth groups, and she was like such a really giving, sweet person. And even when being diagnosed with what she had, she was like, you know what? She says, it's going to be okay, because she says, if I die, she says, I'll be among my friends and family. I'll be with Jesus. She says, it's okay. She goes, if I live, I'm still among my friends and family. So she's like, it's all good, and so she wasn't scared or anything. She did eventually, like, pass away. And I remember the funeral procession. Oh my gosh. She was buried at Rose Hill Cemetery near Los Angeles. And her dad wanted her to be like on top of this hill where he had seen a deer. And he was like, oh my gosh, my daughter would love that. It's trees and deer and animals. And so it was like a line of cars, probably like a mile or two long, full of cars, like people that wanted to come out and say goodbye. And her dad, because he was the chief of police, he had all the roads blocked off. Like you could see like a motorcycle cop at every light, and all the lights were green, going all the way to Rose Hill. And it was just like the most beautiful thing. And there were so many people. And afterwards, her parents didn't want everybody to be sad. So they went to her favorite local like Mexican restaurant. And they said, everything is on us. So whatever you want to eat, whatever you want to drink, let's have a party. Let's share stories about our daughter. And I thought it was just so wonderful, Let's see. Silver Star is here. She says, I'm on break, but I caught a live love. Hey, Feliz Día de los Muertos. Kayla saying, hi, Heather. And Kayla also has Grandpa Alan Farrell So hello, hello. Welcome in Grandpa Alan as well. So again, you guys keep the names coming, bring them into the ofrenda. And if you have pictures, again, send them to pix, P-I-X, at offairport.com, and Riley will put them on the screen. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, who else do we have here? Here's a nice Christmas photo. Well, obviously I took this photo, but that's my Uncle Fred, who's passed away. He was known as Captain Fritz. And that's his wife, my Auntie Virgie, who's still here. And that's my father. My brother is back there somewhere. That's my stepmom, my Uncle Joe, my Auntie Caroline, who passed away a few years ago. This is my Uncle Tony, who actually passed away earlier this year. My cousin Greg, who passed away earlier this year. That's his wife, Ruth, and his 2 daughters. So my cousins. Let's see, who else we have? Who else? We have my Uncle Red. And my Uncle Red was my grandma's brother. So this is like 1992. So I'm about 11 years old. That's my little brother. That was like first day of school. Let's see. We also have my cousin Michael. And my cousin Michael is the one I showed you in here. The brother of my cousin Greg right here. So Michael died when I was in college. And I believe he was 24, 25. And then we have my great aunt Bonnie. So that's actually my grandma's cousin. And she lived in Ohio with my grandma's sister, brother-in-law. And it was interesting when I went there for my grandma's funeral. First of all, Ohio is very flat. And I was not used to that because I grew up in San Diego, hills and mountains and stuff. And it was interesting because they have like the big house, and then there's like a granny flat on the property, and they had a creek that ran behind it. And that was the first time I saw fireflies. I've got it going again. So I was going over to my Aunt Bonnie's house for something. And I remember I was walking over, and it was at night, and I saw lights in the trees behind their houses. I thought, being the California girl that I am, I thought that there was somebody with flashlights in the trees. I was like, ah! And so I ran back to the big house, and I told everybody what I saw, and everybody was like, what? So everybody got their flashlights. Everybody's out there, all my cousins, my aunties, and everybody's out there with the flashlights. And then my Aunt Bonnie was like, is that what you saw? Those lights? And I was like, yeah, what is that? She's like, you dope, those are fireflies. I was like, oh, that's a firefly. My cousins are all laughing at me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was my interaction with fireflies for the very first time. And what was interesting is at my Aunt Bonnie's house, she had moved this bookcase over. And I was like, what's behind there? And it was a hidden door. It just looked like it was a continuation of the wallpaper. But if you looked closely, there was like an outline of a door in the wallpaper behind this bookcase. And I was like, what is this? She was like, we'll go upstairs and find out. And so I go up the staircase up into the attic. And it's like the ceiling's really low. So you have to kind of crouch, in this like real narrow walkway. And there's like these like 4 or 5 rooms. And it's really strange, and it's like full of stuff. And so I asked my Aunt Bonnie, I was like, what is all this stuff? And she goes, well, that's all storage now. But she's like, do you want to know something cool? She says, this house, she goes, is part of our family ancestry. It was used in the Underground Railroad. So she goes, the runaway slaves, they would come here, and we would hide them up here so they could make it to the free states. And she was like, and so we, this is where they hung out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she says, so yeah, she says, we were all a part of that, Harriet Tubman, all of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. The Underground Railroads. Yes, yes. Sorry. You what? Oh, hey, it's Jaffo. Snow Dog. And Rocky, the raccoon. Oh, and there's Bill and Riley. And Thor and Cody. Oh, and then Kayla has some pictures as well. Yay! Yeah, you guys, send in those pictures. Okay. Yeah, Kayla, do you want to pop into the chat with me so that you can talk about the pictures that you sent in? So that way you could share some stories too. I mean, I could read it in the chat, but it'd be nice if you talk too. You don't have to show your video if you're not comfortable, by the way, you know that. And Riley will share the link, Kayla or anybody else who wants to pop on and share some stories, because this is all about our family. This whole live chat, like I said, we'll still do like a little weekly reading. We might pull some cards for super chats and super stickers, but I wanted this to be like all of us honoring our ancestors, our family, and our friends, sharing some stories. Kayla says, sent a pic Iko and his cousin Miko. Miko was my Aunt Caroline's dog, and my cousin cared for him when she passed away. Aww. Silver Star says, man, I wish I could stay. Got to go. Have a beautiful day, y'all. Hugs. Mwah. Bye, Heather. Have fun at work. Okay, Riley posted the link. So yeah, Kayla, if you want to pop in, we'll put the pictures up on the screen. Like I said, you don't have to show your image if you don't want to. And yeah, we could talk about Miko and Iko. Oh, hey, there's Iko and Miko. What sweeties. Kayla said, I'm shy, otherwise I would. No worries. John Gross says, hello. Hey, what's up, John? Silverstar said, always. Okay, loves, y'all. Bye. And John, so we're honoring our friends, family, ancestors, pets. So if you want to send in some pictures of your family, your friends, your pets who have passed away, we're honoring them here at the ofrenda. We have lots of food. We have some ponche. We have some champurrada, lots of drink. There's a little bit of wine up there, some water in case they get thirsty. Yeah, but feel free to post your pictures. You would send them to pics, P-I-X, at offairport.com. And Riley will put them up on the screen. And if you feel so inclined, you can actually jump into the chat. The link is right there. You don't have to show your video image if you don't want to. And talk about the pictures that you sent in, those friends, those family members, your animals. Okay, listen, there they are. That was Christmas. Aww. But cutie patooties. Let's see. What else I want? Oh yeah. my grandpa's sister, my great Aunt Janice, and she's holding my cousin Harley Mae. And Harley Mae just got married this year. So, my gosh, time flies. That was 1999. Oh my gosh, I can't believe my little cousins they're women now. This is my Aunt Betty and my Uncle Ross. They're actually really good friends of my grandma and my grandpa, so it was like their brother and sister. So, and in my family, there's no distinction. It's not like family friends. It's like, no, they're family. So they are your aunts. They are your uncles. Doesn't matter if they're blood related or not. They're aunts and uncles. And then we have here my Nana. So this is my dad's mother, circa 1972. Actually, this was written on the back here. It says November 11th, 1972. And the picture of the little girl down there is actually my Aunt Rebecca, who passed away when she was 17. That's my dad's sister. And then, let's see. Kayla said, Miko passed away from cancer. He was very loved. He was 16, I think. Ooh, 16. I mean, that's a pretty good life. And, you know, to be surrounded by people who love you and care for you, that's the life. I think the same for my cat Presley and Precious, you know. Well, I mean, Presley was like the runt of his litter. Nobody wanted him. But man, did we spoil that cat rotten. And Precious was running with a pack of wild dogs in our neighborhood, because that's just kind of the neighborhood that I grew up in. There was always like packs of wild dogs running around in Chula Vista. Hashtag, we used to call it Chulawana, because we were so close to the border. We even had the 905 freeway, which we used to call the Tijuana Expressway, because that was like, that would dump you right into TJ. But anyway, Precious, yeah, we thought she was a brown dog, and we thought she was a boy dog because she peed with her leg up. Turns out it was a girl dog, and when she got a bath, she was a white dog. We were like, oh. And we even put flyers up, hey, we found somebody's dog, you know, but nobody claimed her. So she became my doggie. And man, we loved her so much. Kayla said, my aunt was a big animal lover, always had a dog or a bird as a pet. Her first schnauzer was Jasmine. Wish I had pictures. I have them somewhere. Well, if you come across them, you know, you could send them in and we'll put them up on the screen. John says, my cats Atticus and Cookie both went at 16. It was too soon for us, but I know it was right on time for them. Well, we welcome in Atticus and Cookie. We have a little pet altar over there. I have some candles going. It's kind of off to the side, so I guess you can't really see the candles, but yeah. So all pets, family and friends, they're welcome. I wanted to share this picture here of my godson, Tamarind. That's actually his brother, Terrence. But Tamarind, he was 23 when he passed away in August of this year. So I'm still definitely feeling his energy around, especially around Halloween, because, okay, get this, my very contradictory nephew, his mom and dad, they've been my friends forever. Like his father is like my brother. He's been my best friend since 7th grade. His mother is like my sister. She's been my good friend since we were 18 years old. So, so yeah, I'm godmother to all 4 of their boys. But Tamarind was their oldest, and he loved to scare people. He loved to do jump scares. He loved Halloween, so he could dress up all scary and, you know, crazy looking. He loved scaring people, but he hated being scared. He didn't like scary movies. He didn't like jump scares. So he loved to be the one scaring people. He did not like to be the one that was scared. He's so silly. So I was like, I wondered if he was going to play some like practical jokes like on Halloween. So I felt, I heard, I felt that, I heard some thumping around. So I wonder if that was Tamarind. Riley was hearing some stuff, so could have been my nephew. He loves to be scary, spooky on Halloween. Okay, who else do we have here? We have my friend Lota, which is short for Charlotta, and that is her husband. And Lota was like she was like a grandmother to me, mother/grandmother. And I met her actually at the German American Society of San Diego. And I, at first, I would go there for Oktoberfest, but then I got hired to sing at their Domenkreis, so like the ladies' circle. And so I would sing like some German songs, and I do some singing for their festivals. And I ended up becoming really good friends with Lotta, who she played the accordion, and man, she loved to get down. She loved to dance. She was in her 90s. And she moved better than most 20-year-olds I know. And she was sharp. She still drove, but you weren't afraid that she was driving because she was like still a really good driver. She was like sharp as a tack, memory, just like she could remember stuff from like way back, and she could remember what she did 5 minutes ago. Like she was just really good. And I remember one day I went to the German club to go. I was there for something, and I was looking around and I didn't see Lotta. And I asked one of the other ladies there, and I was like, where's Lotta schon? And she was like, oh, she goes, oh, it's so sad. And I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, because Lotta's like 95 years old. So I'm like thinking, oh my God, something bad has happened. Like, is she sick or whatever? She was like, oh, it's so sad. She's hungover. What? And she goes, yeah, Lotta, she had too much. And she goes, and she dances till like 2 a.m. and she played the accordion. And poor Lotta, she's like in bed. She's got a hangover. And I was like, wow, this 90-year-old, 95-year-old has a hangover from partying too hard. And man, when you would shake her hand, it's like she was gonna break your hand. And you gave her a hug, she was like, grrr, like this, and she looked like this frail little thing. But no, she was hardcore. But I would go over to her house, and she had this piano from like the 1930s or something from Germany, and all the keys were actually ivory. And I was like, whoa. And so she would play, I would sing. She didn't really bake things, so she would use her oven as storage, and that's where she stored all of her like candies and stuff. So I come over to the house, she was like, do you want some treats? And I was like, yes. She's like, wunderbar. And so she'd run over and she'd like go get my favorite. They were like these gingerbread cookies with like a wafer on the bottom, and they were chocolate covered, and I forget what they were called. They're made by Kinder, I think, but they were so good. And I would just like eat like there was no tomorrow. And she didn't mind feeding me. So she was like giving me all these like sweets, and and we would talk till like 1 a.m. And then I'd be like, okay, I gotta go. She's like, really? Are you tired? And I'm like, listen, I gotta work. I know you're retired, but I gotta go to work tomorrow. But yeah, Lota, man. And I still feel her energy, especially around like Halloween, Dia de los Muertos. I feel Lota a lot, like, and I usually feel like singing too. So that's probably her. Easy Does It's over there cracking up. What? Oh, we got some more photos in. Yay! Gina says, that's amazing. May we all be so lucky to be that vivacious in our 90s. I know, right? I'm like, dude, I was like, Lota, you are my inspiration. I was like, you are who I want to be when I'm your age. And she was like, well, it's not so old. And she was like, maybe 100. You start to slow down a little bit. I was like, 100? Nice. She lived to be 97. And it was a life well lived. She told me all these stories, and like I wanted to know everything. Like I was like, I loved hearing her stories. I could. That's why we were up till like 1, 2 in the morning, is because I was just like, talk and I'll listen. I love it. Easy Does It said, yup. So I remember I was asking her, I said, if you don't mind me asking, what was World War II like from your perspective, since you're in Germany? And she said, well, first of all, she says, when I came here, it was 1950. And she showed me this like musical statue that her sponsor had given her when she became a US citizen, her and her husband. And she says, so we came over in 1950, and she goes, and a lot of the people at the German club, came over in the 50s. And then we started the German American Society because we wanted to, talk about our culture, and we wanted to like share our heritage so that people didn't just see us as like, what everybody knows about Germany of World War II. She goes, that we had so much more to offer than this person, this leader, and what he had done. She goes, like, the German people are more than that. And so she told me, she says, now, she goes, there was a lot going on before World War II. She goes, there was always a war. She goes, between like Poland and Germany. And she goes, and so the border would always change. And she says, so sometimes I was a Polish citizen, sometimes I was a German citizen, because I was like right on the border, and our school was right on the border. So sometimes, it's like, okay, now the war this has happened. And so now they'd start talking in Polish in school. And then it was like, okay, now the borders changed because this has happened. So then they start speaking in German in school. And she goes, it was just but that's just the way life was. And we just kind of dealt with it. And she says, she goes, then it was like the late 1930s. And she goes, this man named Hitler is like coming to power. At first, he was like running for, like to be leader, but everybody thought he was crazy. And so it was like poo-pooed him. And she says, and then of course, later on, he came back around, and it's when our economy was down, and we were like really struggling. She says, and around that time, she goes, I met my husband, and she says, I was like, she goes, in a crowd, she goes, and he was so much taller than all these people in the crowd. I saw him, and she goes, I was like, oh, it was love at first sight. And she goes like, oh, I thought I'm going to marry this man. Easy Does It says, sounds like she was the life of the party. Did she have children? No, she says that she was unable to have kids. And so she told me that I was like her daughter. So I feel very honored to be in that position. But yeah, so she said that her father was very strict and was like, didn't want her to get married too young or anything. And she says, and when she met her husband, she says she was about 17, 18 years old, or soon to be husband. And she goes, he asked for my father's hand in marriage. My father said no, that he had to prove himself as a man. So she goes, he would work at our family farm. He would like break his back doing everything my father asked him to do. And still my father would say no. And she says, so then one day she goes, my soon to be husband was like, I'm going to take you on a bicycle ride to France. So she goes, we rode our bicycles through the countryside. And she goes, this is before they had all these buildings and everything. And she goes, and the whole countryside leading into France is filled with strawberries, like strawberry fields. And so she says, I rode out there on my bicycle with my boyfriend at the time. And she says, and he laid out a picnic blanket, and we laid in the grass, just picking strawberries and eating fresh strawberries as we laid there in the grass. And he had some champagne. And she says, and it was there that he proposed to me. He says, I don't give a damn what your father says. He says, I'm going to marry you. And she says, so without my father's blessing, she says, we got married. She goes, my mom was very happy, but she goes, her father eventually came around. And she said, then she goes, World War II officially broke out, and they were not really enlisting. It was like men of a certain age had to join the German army. And so her husband was one of them. And so she says he left for war. And she says, and so, it was like immediately after we had gotten married, she says he had to leave the very next day. And she says, and back then, because I was like, ooh, what did you wear for your wedding dress? And she was like, that's kind of an American and English thing. And she says, a lot of other countries, we don't have like the white wedding dress. And she says, at least in my time, it was whatever you have that's nice in your closet, and that's your wedding dress. So she says, I picked a nice skirt and blouse. And she goes, that was my wedding outfit. And she says, and he found a nice suit. And she goes, we got married. And then she says, then he went off to war the next day. And she says, and she goes, we had to like give up a lot of our like metal, like stainless steel stuff. And she says, and our silk stockings and things like that were given for the war efforts for like making parachutes and making arms and stuff like that. So we had to give a lot of what we had. And she goes, and we didn't have a whole lot because we're a very poor country, actually. And she says, and my clothing, she goes, people didn't have huge closets like they do now. She goes, you had your stuff like made. So she goes, I had like 5 outfits. And she says, and in the stores, like I wanted a new dress. The stores had this same dress in every store. And she goes, then I'm like, why is this ugly dress? Why is everybody wearing this brown ugly dress? And then we ask where it's from. She says, so get this. So we're donating all of our fabrics and things for the war efforts. And she says, and it's hard for us to get imports from any other country for like textiles and things like that. That brown dress was made in the United States. So here we are at war with the United States, with these other countries, and the only clothing that we can wear are from technically what was considered our enemy. And so we thought it was like America laughing in our face. And she's like, but we wore this brown dress anyway. She says, but I never thought, she goes, America was like the enemy, but that was the propaganda. She goes, is that, these certain countries were our enemies. But she says, I thought, it's just like any war. It's like all of a sudden Poland is your enemy. Now Poland is your friend. Now this is your enemy. Now this is your friend. And she says, and it's so political. And they try to get you to believe, that these people are bad. This group of people is bad. So she goes, I just wanted the war to end. She goes, luckily, my husband came home to me. And she goes, we decided after the war, we needed to get out of this country and we wanted to move to the United States. And so she says, that's kind of where the story takes off from there. She goes, 1950, we were finally able to come here. And she goes, and I got my citizenship. And so did my husband. And I was like, wow, wow, okay. Okay, so there's a picture coming up. Oh, nice. Kayla, tell us about this picture. So Grandma, Auntie Cookie, Cheyenne, and Mom. With what? Oh, with Auntie Cookie's birds. Ah.
It says it. Can you hear me? It says it's Grandma, Auntie Cookie, Cheyenne, and Mom posing with Auntie Cookie's birds.
Oh. Oh, okay. So Kayla has it there. So Grandma, Auntie Cookie, Sister Shauna, and her mom, Shayna. Kayla said, yep. Lilith has made it. Lilith Phoenix. Hey. Well, that is a beautiful picture. Thank you for sharing that, Kayla. Thank you so much. Aw. Yeah, you guys keep sharing those pictures. I love this. Kayla says, Auntie Cookie's birds. I think it was a birthday party. You're welcome and thank you. Well, thank you. Bringing in those relatives to the ofrenda over here. Riley says, that looks like Mrs. Reagan. Wow, they look so nice. Wow, love it. Lila Phoenix says, you look beautiful. Well, thank you. With my Dia de los Muertos outfit, my La Catarina. And 850X says, the spiritual routines for staying positive with spirits. That actually, I would say at the core of it all, it started with just meditation, really getting to understand my energy first. It's so much harder, I think, trying to understand like the energies of my relatives or the energies of not so nice spirits and all these other energies if I don't know my own energy first, because then it's harder to discern like what is draining your energy, or like if you're feeling something that's not really your own emotions, it's the emotions of another. I think at the core of it, it started with meditation, and meditation works differently for a lot of different people. Some people can't sit still, for like 30 minutes, so they do walking meditations. Some people need guided meditations. I love doing a guided meditation at the end of my live chats, but I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. I know that everybody has a different way of connecting with their energy. So whatever works for you, I would say really work on that. Really try to understand what your personal energy feels like. What does it feel like when you feel drained? What does your energy feel like when you feel happy and upbeat? What do you feel like when you're like super in it, in the spiritual realm? And then it makes it easier to feel the other energies. Like it makes it easier to feel like when there's an energy near you, or when you're taking on somebody else's emotions that aren't your own, or maybe it's not actually a spirit, but the spirit of a living person, So I would say that's like at the core of it all. Kayla's over there laughing. The what? Yes. Meditation is not what you think. Yes. That's a good one. Okay. We have some other photos here. So this photo is my great grandma, Madonna Duty, who was from Ireland. And I had family in Kerry and Limerick, Ireland. And down here is my grandma, and that's her sister. And then her brothers, Joey and Andy and Joey. I forget her sister's name, my great aunt. I only met her once, and that was like at my grandma's funeral in Ohio, but that's where they live. They live in Defiance, Ohio. But interesting story about my great grandma Madonna Duty. So they were Irish Catholics, and like I said, they came from Kerry, they came from Limerick. That's kind of where the majority of the Irish part of the family came from. And my great grandma Madonna Duty was really good at reading palms, but since she was very Catholic, she believed that doing any sort of like divinatory work was not good. But so she thought, but I have this gift and I want to help people. So she would never accept money for what she did. So she would kind of help people, but it wasn't like she had a business or anything. It was just like if people came up to her and they knew what she did, they were like, hey, Madonna, could you please read my palm, and help give me some guidance. And she would kind of feel out the person. So it was like, sometimes she would do it. And so there's this story that my grandma would tell me. And she says, one time my mother, oh, wow, it's me on big screen. She was like, one time my mother, she says, was taking us to the store for something. And this man came up to her and he was like, Madonna, he says, I heard about what you do, and I need you to please read my palm because I'm so lost right now. I feel really down on my luck. I don't have anything to give you. And she was like, well, first of all, you don't give me anything. She says, and I don't really like to say that that's what I do. And he was like, but please give me some guidance. He says, I'm on the verge of being homeless. I've lost everything. I don't really have anything. And she was like, well, okay. So he gave his palm, she read it, and she told him about some things that were coming up for him. And she says, you're going to have to make a big choice, and you'll know about when the choice comes. And she says, the one choice, there's going to be two paths. One choice is going to sound a lot better than the other, but trust me, it's the latter that you want to go with, not the one that sounds really good. And so he was like, okay. And so apparently like a month later, this man comes back to her and he's like, thank you, Madonna. And he says, because I did what you said. He says, I actually did come up to this choice. And he says, one choice sounded really, really good. It sounded like it was going to get me out of my situation. And I really wanted to take it, but I remembered what you said. And so I took the other. And he says, I'm doing really well. I have a place to live. I'm back up on my feet. And he says, and because I'm doing so well, I would like to give back to you and your family, because my grandma and her brothers and sister, they lived kind of on the verge of poverty themselves. You know, my great grandma, she did not like to live wealthily. She gave away all her wealth, anything that they made. So she was like, no, I don't want to take anything. And he's like, oh, wow. And so my grandma says that was just, she says, I heard that story and I will always remember that story. And she goes, and everybody was always so grateful. And she goes, and another thing was in Defiance, Ohio, she would play the lottery. She liked to play the lottery for like the state lottery and the city lotteries. And she won every single time. And she says, and every time she won, she said she knew she would win because she always knew the numbers. So she always won, and she would give that money back to the city. Because she says that there were people less fortunate than them that needed this more than her family. And my grandma was like, and we lived in poverty. We're like living off potatoes over here. And we're like, Mom, we could use some of that money. And she's, no. She says, Jesus takes care of us. You have clothes, you have food, we have enough. We have a roof over our heads. So she says, this money is for other people who really need it, people who don't have a home and who don't have food. And, you know, so every time she won the lottery, she gave it back to the city. So I thought that was kind of cool. Wish I could have met my great grandma. She sounded like a wonderful person. Ooh, I'm running out of juice. Yeah, so if you guys want to share more pictures, down at the bottom of the screen in the ticker, you'll see the pics at Off Airport. Is where you guys can send your pictures so we could put them up here on the screen. You guys could tell a little story. I have some more pictures for you guys. Here we go. This is something that my Auntie Caroline had put together after my cousin Selena passed away. So this is my cousin Selena. She passed away actually when I was in college. I believe she was like 35. And very interesting story about my cousin. Isn't she beautiful? I love my cousin. Well, I love all my family members. I shouldn't be like I only love one family member. No, my cousin Selena, she babysat me when I was little. She was like 15 years older than me, so she was like a big sister to me. And she grew up with my two older half sisters from my dad's first marriage. So my sister Jessie and my sister Tisha. And Jessie and my cousin Selena are the same age. And so I remember I would see my cousin get dressed up to go out with her friends, and I just thought she was so stylish and so cool. She was very 80s. But when my cousin Selena had passed away, it's like I had just heard of her passing. And I asked my mom, I tried to get information. I was like, because it was a shock, like not that my cousin was sick or anything, like she was fine. So I like blindsided me that she had passed. And my mom said, oh, she fell out of bed, she bumped her head. And I was like, what? And she didn't get up in the morning. I'm like, dude, that is such a lie. I was like, tell me what happened to my cousin. My mom's like, that's the truth. She likes to lay on her side on the edge of the bed. She fell over, hit her nightstand, and she died. And I was like that sounds like a big fat lie to me. So I actually had a dream that night, and I'll share that with you guys. John says, well, you could have a scented candle flavored cigar if you really need. Yes, well, actually, let me check on this copal and see how we're burning over here. See if I have to light another charcoal. I might need to get another charcoal. But we'll see. I mean, it's starting to smoke. Ooh, my bloody heart's looking pretty good. I like it. All right, we might have to do another charcoal. That's cool. Although I think I can get this one going. I have the charcoal over a candle right now. I'm seeing if I can get it hot again. I think it's working. Oh, yippee-ki-yay. Yes. Burn, baby, burn. Yes, technically, I could have the cigar scented candle. But I think my Lolo Egipto would prefer the real deal. Kayla said, she's beautiful. Lola says, I just had the wildest dream of two lovers, much like Gomez and Morticia, split apart by a Jezebel who drained his life force and bound her to stay away from him. Then I acquired two statues that represented them, and I reversed what had been done so they could be with each other in spirit. They came with like a flesh-eating plant who was very hungry. 'Twas wild. Wow. But I love that. I mean, that you were able to put them back together. So it's almost like maybe negative polarity splitting. Oh, that could also be like representative of what's going on right now. It's almost like, some people are being so split polarically from like other people. It's like, I really don't like this person, or I really don't like that political view, or I don't like that country, or I don't like, and it seems like we've become so divided in so many ways. So maybe it's like your dream showing that, that's not permanent. We are able to come back together again, becoming one once again. And the flesh-eating plant, could be like the negative polarity trying to devour us, trying to devour our light, our love. But you can't destroy love. And so the two become one again, basically all of us, all the collective consciousness. I love that. And John said, my grandmothers would definitely prefer the real thing. Hey, John's grandmas. Whew. Man, it's really burning over there. Nice. Ooh, look at that incense go. I love it. Lila says, that would be lovely to reunite. Definitely. Okay, so I have, so I was telling about my cousin. So I had this dream, speaking of wild dreams. So it was the day after I found out that she had passed away. And in this dream, I'm trying to remember the beginning of it. Oh, I remember. I'm in Mexico. And I'm in this house that has a dirt floor, and there's this man digging in the floor, and I look down and it's my cousin's coffin, her white coffin. And, or it's like a white coffin. And I was like, oh, it's like they're digging up my cousin. And so the coffin opens, but it's empty. And it's like, all of a sudden it's like this wind, and you're just like, whoosh, and we're like in a new scene, right? And all of a sudden we're at my house, like the house I grew up in. And my cousin's sitting on the couch, and I was like, Selena, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Everybody thinks you're dead. I was like, I knew you were dead. I knew you were right here. And she was like, no, mija. She says, I am. I'm gone. I've died. And I was like, but how? Like, you're sitting here on my couch. And she says, well, because I'm visiting you in your dream right now. And I was like, oh. And she's like, well, come sit down. And she had this like cute little tea set, which is weird because my cousin didn't drink tea. But she had this like little like British looking tea set with crumpets and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we're having tea. And she's trying to tell me something, and I interrupt her because I see her husband Ernie walking in my backyard, and I was like, oh wait, I'm going to tell everybody that you're alive and that you're right here. And she was like, you can't do that, they won't listen to you. And I was like, wait. So I run out my backyard, and for some reason Ernie's coming out of me and my brother's playhouse, and he's walking, and I was like, Ernie, Selena's in the house, she's alive. And he's going, no. And he's ignoring me, and he just keeps going like this, and he doesn't want to listen. And so I'm very frustrated, and I come back in, I'm like, Selena, why wouldn't he listen? And she said, some people won't listen, and some people never will. And she goes, and that's just the way it is, and it's okay. And I was like, but you're right here. Like, why won't he come talk to you? And she says, some people aren't ready, and that's okay. And she said, she goes, now I have to tell you something, and you need to listen. And she says, so the family is going to believe that I committed suicide. And she says, and I understand that, because I tried to commit suicide many, many times. But this time I didn't. It was an accident. She goes, I have a lot of medication that I take, and it was on my nightstand. Your Ernie, my husband, he takes a lot of medication. It's on his nightstand. Sometimes our medications get mixed, and the medication I took was some of his medication by accident. It interacted, and I passed away. And I was like, oh. And she says, so it will look like I overdosed on purpose, but it was not on purpose. I want you to know that truth, that I didn't try to take my life. And she goes, it was an accident, 100%. And she says, and another thing is, I won't be able to come back to you and speak to you. And I was like, oh, well, I said, you can't come in my dreams? And she said, no. She says, this will be the last time I speak to you. She goes, but I wanted to let you know. And I wanted you to know that I love you. I love your brother. I'll look over the both of you like always. And she says, I love your mom and dad. Tell them I love them. And she goes, tell the family I love them. She says, but I really have to go now. Okay. She goes, I have to go somewhere. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I call my dad, and I ended up visiting with the family, because I think this was around Thanksgiving or Christmas. I was around some holiday, because the whole family got together. And I tell them my story. I tell them my dream. The family gets real quiet. They look at one another, and they're like, well, they said, it's very interesting, because the autopsy report, which only your Aunt Virgie has, said that she died by her own hand. It wasn't overdose. And I said, but it wasn't though. And I literally just told you it wasn't. And they were like, well, that's a very nice story, but unfortunately, they said, you don't know. They said, your cousin Selena was a very sick girl, and she had a lot of mental issues. And they said, and she tried to commit suicide many times before. And so it looks like she finally succeeded. I was like, but she didn't. I was like, this time she didn't want to, she wasn't trying to. And they were like, well, I was like, never mind the fact that I literally just told you what was in an autopsy report before I even heard about it. I was like, so then it was like the following year, they finally decided that what I had said was rather interesting. I was like, wow. But I was like, just, hopefully they took into consideration that, what I said, that, she loved them all, and she just kind of wanted them to know the truth. But yeah, so that was my cousin Selena. Wonderful person, sweetest person on the planet. Very craftsy. Like, she loved to make everything. She made, even for her wedding, she made her own wedding dress. She made her own jewelry, her necklace, her earrings. She made her little tiara that she wore. She just made so many things. And then she would make toys for the kids in the area. Like, she just loved to make and give, just like her mother. Her mother was like a hospice nurse, and her mother was always taking care of people. And they were both, I think, besides my friend Tabitha and some of my other friends, and I couldn't think of two kinder, gentler people on this planet. So I think wherever they are, heaven, They got some angels. They got some angels over there. Let's see. Costalini says, cool flowers. Well, thank you. Thank you. Feliz Dia de los Muertos. Lilith says, hey, Costalini, it's so cool you joined the Halloween live. Easy Does It says, wow, that's a great story. And I love that I'm able to share these with you guys. And by the way, please continue to send your photos in through to pics@offairport.com so Riley can put them up on the screen. And you guys can share your stories as well. The Champurrada was still really good. Okay, a couple more things. Okay, this person back here is my great aunt Helen. This is my Nana's sister, Helen Gomez. Well, I guess when she got married, her name's Helen Patterson. But my great aunt Helen, I became closer to her because I actually didn't get to meet her till I was like in my very early 20s, late teens, early 20s. And I found out she lived in Long Beach, and that's where I went to school. So I went over to her apartment complex like at least once or twice a week, and I ended up becoming very close with my auntie. She had a little bit of dementia, so she would sometimes think that I was her, my Aunt Rebecca, and she kept thinking my dad was my brother, and I kept saying, no, I'm Chris's daughter. I'm not his sister. She was like, oh yeah. But she was, she worked for the Air Force in the early 1950s, and she was a radio communications operator. And so, interesting story about her and my Uncle Rudy, which is my Nana's brother. This is my Uncle Rudy. That's my Nana. Okay, so get this about my Uncle Rudy, who actually he's a funny guy. I remember when he came over for my Nana's memorial after my Nana passed away, and he was like he was seeing me and my brother. We hadn't really met him too much before, and he goes, "Hola, I'm your tío Rodolfo," and I was like, "Hello." He's like, "You can call me Uncle Rudy." I was like, and he says, "I have to ask you one question." I was like, "What?" He's like, "¿Cómo está Frijoles?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "How have you been?" I was like, "What?" Dude, my Uncle Rudy, he was a character. He loved making jokes, making people laugh. Lola says, "Any more nighttime whispers since?" Oh man, there's been a lot. And Costalini says, "It was a graveyard smash at our Halloween live chat." It sure was. So, okay. So my Uncle Rudy was telling this story about, he said, when this was World War II. He says he had signed up to, fight in the war. And he says, and so all the enlistees were in a line, and he goes, and basically this like sergeant or whatever came out and was like calling people off by name and social security number. And then they had to go get their uniforms and things like that so they could start their training, basically. And so my uncle says all the men got called, and I'm the last one there. And he says, and so the sergeant comes over and he's like, "I'm sorry, sir, what is your name?" And he says, my name is Rudy, and he looks at his paper and he says, "Your name is Rodolfo Bernal." And he goes, No. My name is Garcia. He goes, "It's not Garcia, it's Bernal." And he says, "I think I know my name." And he says, "Is this your social security number?" And he goes, "Why, yes, it is." And he says, "Well, then your name is Rodolfo Bernal." And he goes, "Well, that can't be, because Bernal is the name of our neighbors next door, and they're just family friends." He goes, "My mother, we are Garcia." And he says, "Listen, the U.S. military knows who you are. And so he went home and asked his mother about this. And she said, okay, I have to tell you something. And she says, so I used to be a babysitter for the neighbors next door, for Genevieve Bernal and, or for Aggie Bernal and her husband. And she said, that's your mother and that's your father. And he was like, wait, what? He says, I thought I was your son. And she said, well, what happened was I couldn't have a child of my own. And so when Agnes wasn't there and her husband was gone, I took you to Mexico and I raised you as my own. And she says, and then when I came back to the United States, I told Aggie what had happened. We decided that for the sake of your mental health, that I would move next door to them so that they could still see you and hang out with you every day, but that it would remain that I was your mother and that they were just family friends, when in actuality, that is your mother. And he was like, whoa. And she says, I'm so sorry, but now you're old enough that the truth can come out. She says, but we felt like when you were little, it would be too much to have that lie come out that I had basically kidnapped you and made you my child. And he was just like, whoa. He says, and then he goes, after that, I did continue to enlist in the military. And he goes, it was right after the Arizona had gotten blown up. And he says, my job was to fish out the bodies and the body parts from underwater. And he says, and it was like 2 days in, and it was just too much. He goes, I said, could you put me in like a different job? Because I can't be fishing any more body parts out of the ocean. This is just too much. And he's like, but I did what I could to serve the country. But he's all fishing out other servicemen from the ocean was not my bag. And I was like, wow. It was just like so wild. When I heard that story, I was like, must have been a different time. Let's see. Costalini says, no, I went to my neighbor's house today and she was watching people playing with a spirit box in a graveyard on TV. So it's sort of synchronistic you mentioned this. Maybe that means tonight there will be. Ooh. And Lilith says, perhaps. Easy Does It said, wow. And Lilith says, that is wild. Costalini said, that's some trauma right there. But my Uncle Rudy says he just kind of let it roll off his back, because I was like, oh my gosh, I said, did that like mess with you to find out that this woman basically was your kidnapper who tried to pretend to be your mother? And then I said that great grandma Aggie was like your mother. And he was like, I just realized, he says, life is very interesting. And he says, and so I didn't hold it against the woman that kidnapped me. He goes, I could see her side of the story. Was it right? Probably not. He says, but I understand. He says, and he says, so I forgave her. I forgave my mother. I forgave all of the people involved. He goes, and I figure life is too short to hold grudges. He says, I'd rather have a laugh and enjoy life than, he says, to be angry at something that I don't have any control over. And he says, and I can't go back and change the past. So he says, all we can do, he goes, is have fun here in the present, enjoy what we have, the family and friends that we have. And he goes, and even people who pretended to be your family, he says, just makes a bigger family anyway. And he says, you just enjoy life. And he says, you thank Jesus for every day. And I was just like, whoa, like talk about a positive outlook. But yeah, my Uncle Rudy was, he was really cool. And then let's see, I have some, and by the way, so Aggie, great grandma Aggie, the one they were talking about, that's her right there. That's his mother. And then here, wow, I just now, like, I'm reading the back of this. Okay. All right. Well, I knew those things. I'm like, wow, somebody wrote notes on the back of this picture. That was my nana writing notes, I guess. Okay. So this is my great great grandma, Inez Cota, who eventually became Inez Perdue, and one of her many children became my great grandma, Aggie Perdue, but she went by her middle name. So her name was actually Inez Perdue, but she liked her middle name because she didn't want to be confused with having the exact same name as her mother. But anyway, so this is Inez, my great great grandma. This woman here is Francesca Rivera. And she's my great 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 grandma, and she is full Pima Indian. And eventually in the family, they tried to hide the fact that we had native blood. Especially like in Mexico, there was like this thing where they didn't really want people to know that you're native. So everybody tries to pretend that they are Spanish. And so my great aunt Helen, my family, like they always told me to deny that I had any Mexican in me or that I was Indian. You know, they said that people would look down on you. So they would, if anybody asked them, they always said, "Oh, we're Spanish. We're Spanish. You know, we're from, you know, Basque," which, you know, the what was his name? Serafico Rivera. No, Serafico Cota, my great 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 grandfather was Spanish. And then Inez Cota, she ended up marrying a guy who immigrated from France into Mexico. And his name was Perdue, or his last name was Perdue. But yeah, they would like just try to pretend like, "Oh, we're Spanish, we're Spanish." They wouldn't say that they were French. They wouldn't say that they were anything else. They would just like, we're Spanish. But yeah, so then when I started digging into my family ancestry and I was like asking my nana, I was like, "Tell me more about our native roots." And she was more than happy to tell, because she was like, she was proud, you know, about our heritage. But she says, you know, not everybody's proud about that. And I was like, "Well, tell me." I was like, "I want to know." I'm like, "I don't want to live some lie, you know." Let's see. Lilith says, "It's even wilder. They became neighbors." Like, huh? It's just a different time, different culture, you know? And Lilith says, "I'm still not over the trauma of learning who my biological dad was. Your uncle had a great attitude. Teach us, Uncle Rudy." I know, Rodolfo, Uncle Rudy, come on in, help us. Time Harvest is here. He says, "Damn, she looks strong. Can I already send a super chat?" Well, you know what? Sure, we can get into super chats and super stickers now if you guys would like. I think I've showed you all the pictures that I have up here, and I'm so glad that I got to share my list of names with you guys. And by the way, those people who are just now coming into the chat, if you would like to post the name of your animals, your family, your friends who have crossed over, please put them there, because part of Dia de los Muertos is speaking the stories of those who have crossed, saying their names so that they continue to live on in this 3D world, even though in eternity they live forever. Okay, so let's pull a card for Time Harvest. So yeah, if you guys want to do super chats and super stickers, we can do that now if you would like. How's our copal going? It's okay, it's okay. I think I'm gonna do another charcoal. So Time Harvest, I will pull a card for you. Let me just get another charcoal going. I want to keep this incense going for my family and your guys' family and friends. So we'll go another little charcoal here. Let's light this baby up. Heck yeah. Spark. Spark away. Get sparky with it. So I'm just gonna try to get as hot as I can. Okay, I think that's pretty hot. Let me move this little charcoal out of the way. Put that there. Very good, very good. Okay, time to add some incenso. All right, putting in a little bit of copal for our friends and family and animals. Ooh, ooh, starting to get hot. Oh yeah. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. Okay. Let's see. What card would do? Let's pull. Let's pull from the Calavera Tarot. Okay. The one I have edged in black and trimmed myself. These used to be really, really big cards. Okay, Time Harvest wants to know what's her star seed, and you know who. I sure do. Let's take a look-ski. Woo! We got tobacco incense going. We got copal. Ooh, that's really burning over there. I like it. They're coming to feast on our maritos and pan de muerto, our fruit, our empanadas de pumpkin, our ponche, our champurrada. Okay. Let's see if she has anything going on the spiritual radio. Oh my gosh, this song takes me back. Time Harvest, this might be before your time. It's I think it's just like the line of the song is the title, way back into time. And it's by Blackstreet. So it's time to go back, way back into time. Nah, baby, nah, baby, nah, baby. No. If you take your love away from me, I'll go crazy. I'll go insane. Oh man, I wish I could play copyrighted stuff, on these live chats. Okay, Time Harvest. What a card to pick. The Lovers. Time Harvest. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but you both, like right now, you're in that Lyran energy. Remember that we're everything. We are all one, right? But sometimes we reflect different aspects of ourselves depending on where we are in our life. And right now, at this point in your life, you're more of your Lyran self, and she is more of her Lyran self. But I feel like even though you're both Lyran, it's like saying, I'm American, somebody else could be American, but we're from two different parts of America. But I feel like the same thing for you guys. Like you're both Lyran, but you're two different parts of Lyran, like two different like you resided in two different places. So it's like you had the same language, you had the same ideals, and this is like in the past, but still retaining a lot of that energy. But I feel like she was from a time before, so almost like she was older in that lifetime. Like, I don't know, I don't want to say like wiser, but like just from a part of that culture, that race that was a little bit more, they'd been around longer than your group of Lyrans. So it's like she had better insight into things. Not that you didn't, but she had a different perspective. And so in this lifetime, you might find that you're not so vastly different, but she just might look at the world a little bit differently. Not that one is better than the other, but it's what makes the two halves work really well, where you could see things from one way and she can see it from another, and together we meet in the middle, you know? So I'm definitely getting also Lyran vibes from her, just like a different aspect of Lyran, if that makes sense. But that's really cool, Time Harvest. Hey. All right, Costalini says, could you sling me a card for this week and see what comes to mind? Thanks. All right, let's do it. I got that copal going. Take another little puff for our ancestors here. A little bit for you, Lolo. All right. Let's tap into Costalini's spiritual radio. Okay, I guess we're just going to be in the 90s then? Is that where we're going to be in people's spiritual radio? So first we were on Black Street. Now we're on Backstreet. Backstreet Boys. Interesting, Costalini. Everybody, yeah, rock your body, yeah. Everybody, work your body right, work your body right. Backstreet's back, all right. Yeah. Oh my God, we're back again. Brothers, sisters, everybody say, gonna bring the flavor, show you how. Time Harvest says, so she's Lyran, feline, lioness too, or a bird-like. Lyran, but I don't know if this comes across like she's like Lyran fire, like almost like a phoenix, but like if a phoenix were a cat, like a phoenix cat. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh, and then Lulu sent a PayPal. Thank you. Time Harvest says, that's so amazing. You pulled that card and it had a cup on it. So she's a bit more ancient than me. Amazing. Costalini's like, Backstreet's back. All right. Okay. So let's, okay, Costalini. So we got Backstreet. Everybody. I love that music video too. It's kind of isn't that also like a Halloweeny music video? That's cool. All right. The Star got a major arcana coming up for you. Costalini, very interesting that when I was pulling cards for myself for this like upcoming week, I also got the Star card. So maybe that was like more tapping into your message. That's interesting, but we'll look in and we'll see. Okay. Okay, Costalini. So, you know how we had tapped into like your negative polarity aspect? It's almost like your negative twin flame in a different dimension. Um, so I kept seeing these bright white lights around you, and it was like your feminine lineage. So not only like your female ancestors of like your current DNA lineage, but also the female ancestors of all of your past lives. And it's like these women are coming in to protect you, but I see like these older women, and they're not really having it with your negative polarity self. So it seems like they're coming in to kind of help resettle the energy around you, because it seems like it's getting a little too wackadoodles for their comfort. So that they're not going to try to impede on your free will and what you want, or the free will of this other being, but they're there to kind of like neutralize the situation. So it's like, okay, we don't want her to be such an influence that it influences his actions and thus impedes on his free will. But if we can bring the energy down a notch and we can make everything a little bit more even keel, and you might even see some of those bright lights, you might even feel some of their energy, then they feel like you'll be in more of a grounded space to continue making your own decisions without being so influenced by her or even influenced by them. They're not trying to influence you at all. They just want everything to be a little bit more neutral. So they're just kind of coming in to play a little bit of cleanup. So you might feel some, again, feminine energy from your actual lineage, this earthly incarnation, and some of your past incarnations lineage coming in to just kind of help you out. So hope that makes sense. I love that. I love their energies, by the way. They were coming in. It was almost like grandma with a rolling pin, like, okay, listen, mija. Let's see. Lilith says, this week, whilst cleaning, had an intuitive hit to work for Crisis Helpline. Would like to know if this is the right avenue to aim for. All right, because we are going to pull a card for our friend Lilith as well. Time Harvest says that she was watching you too. I'm streaming for her on Discord. Well, hello, Time Harvest's lady. Costalini says, we've been pretty connected the last 2-ish weeks somehow. I know, I mean, it's just like, you guys are all so freaking synchronistic. It's like, whatever cards I pull for myself or things I see throughout the week ends up being part of like each of your readings that I do on Sunday. It's wild. I love hanging out with you guys. It's great. Leanne Richards here says, OMG, I love it. Welcome. Feliz Día de los Muertos. Time Harvest says, so she's my soulmate. Are we one once before in Vega and again now on Earth, right? So yeah, it's kind of like a soulmate. So it's like reconnecting with someone you haven't seen in a very long time. So the thing is like with soulmates, sometimes soulmates, they come together, they might date or maybe even marry. And then sometimes people get freaked out because they separate and they're like, oh my gosh, if somebody was my soulmate, I thought I was supposed to be with them forever. But I feel like with a soulmate, they're there to help each other. You're there to help her with her mission. She is there to help you with your mission. If you feel like you've helped each other enough, there might be a time where you two separate, but you might still be in each other's lives somehow. So just keep in mind that at a soul level, it goes beyond dating. It goes beyond marriage. I'm helping you at your soul's level. I'm here to help your soul and help you advance on what you're doing, and you're doing the same for her. And so to me, that's like the ultimate act of love that goes beyond any sort of earthly contracts that we may have here. So I think that that's amazing. Lilith says, it's not strange, Costalini. Felt the same after doing the channeling with Tara. It was such a clear interaction of energies. Wow. And then Time Harvest, we could pull another one for you. He said, thanks so much. You are very welcome, my friend. And Easy Does It also has a question, so we will get to her as well. Costolini says, well, that's sort of cool. You know, it's the only reading I haven't re-listened to more than twice. Ooh. And Lilith says, thoughts on the timeline shift, Tara? Has it taken place yet? For me personally, I have felt it. I felt it not this Monday, but it was the Monday before. So it's definitely, at least in my perspective, didn't feel like a wham in my face, but I felt the shift. I felt it in my sleep. I felt it in my physical self. I have felt the shift for sure. And Costolini says, because I don't want to focus on the negative and listen to it just keeps the energy around. That could be too. Sometimes I refrain from listening to things multiple times because it's like, I don't want to keep in my mind the things I don't want, you know? And Time Harvest says she waved too. All right. Nice. Okay, so Lilith, let's get to your question. Okay. So you were thinking about maybe helping at a crisis helpline. So is this the right avenue to aim for? Okay, let's see what's on the spiritual radio before we pull your card. Okay, all right. So maybe because my spiritual radio is tuned to the 90s, so your souls are like, okay, we'll pick something from the 90s for you. Okay, so Lilith, I was getting Ace of Base, the sign. I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. Life's demanding without understanding. I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna know that you belong. But where do you belong? Oh, oh, oh. Sorry, got a bit of cornmeal in my throat. Okay. Oh, okay. Actually, that goes right in line with your question. You're wondering if this is the avenue to go for, and it's like, but where do you belong? Okay. Okay, she wants to work at the crisis helpline. Is this where she should be headed? Is this where Ooh, another major arcana. You guys. First, we got a lover's card. That was a major arcana. We got the star card for Costolini. That was a major arcana. Now for Lilith, we got the hangman. That's a major arcana card. Wow, you guys are like majorly awesome. Anyway, let's tap in. Okay, so Lilith, what I was getting was definitely trust your intuitive hit if that's where you're feeling pulled to. And instead of looking at it as like, oh, this is going to be my next big career, or like this is like what I do 100%. This is like more continue to go with that gut where you feel called. If you feel like helping, one day a week or a couple of days a week, or maybe you're just on a volunteer basis, or instead of feeling like this needs to be like the whole thing I'm into, just going where you're being called to, because there are people there who are going to be needing your help. And remember what you were saying before. You said that people sometimes feel really triggered around you. But this is actually where you shine, because these people who are calling into these crisis centers are already triggered. And so the thing is, they would not be triggered by you. You can actually see what their trigger was, and you're able to help them because you're so used to seeing people get triggered by just you being you and your energy. That these people who are looking for help and guidance, you're able to see where you could be of most help. Maybe it's just something that you say. Maybe it's that you direct them, to, this place or that place in order for them to get help. But because you've interacted with so many people who you have, basically another word for trigger is prompting somebody to find help, whether it's within or they find some sort of external help. Well, these people now are looking for that external help, and you're able to see very clearly how you can help those people now that they're in that triggered open state, calling, asking for help. So this is definitely an area that is going to lead to other opportunities for you to aid others. But continue to go with the flow, go with where your intuition is leading you. If your intuition is saying go on a volunteer basis, or just work one day a week or a couple of days a week, something on the side, or maybe make full time, but continue to go with what your gut is telling you. And it's okay if at some point you don't feel called to do that anymore, because like I said, there's other avenues where you're able to help people, but it may not necessarily just be through, a crisis hotline or helpline. So I hope that makes sense, but it's definitely something to kind of get you started on the next chapter. It will definitely be very helpful. Lila says, laughs, that spiritual radio is on par. I know, right? Okay, so let's go back here. Oh, Time Harvest says it was just a thank you. Well, thank you so much. Let's see. Easy Does It says, we are the luckiest. Not everyone has a channeler that can sing. Oh, I just like to have funsies. Lilith says it absolutely does. They have a required minimum, but I'm thinking I'd use it to expand my shamanic abilities too. Yes, like I feel like this is opening up different avenues, different possibilities as you work with these other people that you're helping, because you're definitely needed there at this time. That it'll just help you to help others in other ways later on because of what you learn, the skills that you gain from helping these people in crisis. So Lilith says, thank you very much. You are very welcome, my friend. All right, so let's see. Let's go with our friend Easy Does It. And then very happy Mondays. Yay! Sonreír lunes. All right. So Easy Does It says, why am I staying neutral with everything that is happening in the world? I feel my heart being neutral, but I want to be more on the light side, and I just can't get closer to the light side. Okay. So Easy Does It. I don't know if we're going to have some more 90s radio, but we'll see. Let's take a look at what's on the spiritual radio. Okay. I don't remember the singer's name. Singer's name. But the name of the song is Evacuate the Dance Floor. Oh, evacuate the dance floor. Oh, the speed is killing me. Oh. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, evacuate the dance floor. Come on, the speed is killing me. I don't know, maybe Riley can look it up, but I think this is like an early 2000s. Yay, we made it out of the 90s, I think. We're in the early 2000s now. All right. So why is she staying neutral, and why are we getting evacuate the dance floor? Oh, okay. Riley says it's a cascada. Easy Does It's over there laughing. Okay. All right. Oh, and then we have from our buddy John. Yay. Thank you. We will definitely pull a card. Let me know your question. Why did she stay neutral? Ah, 3 of Wands. Because there's clarity in neutrality. So sometimes we might think that to be neutral, it means that we're not taking the light side just as much as we're not taking the dark side, but or we could say negative polarity, positive polarity. But it's just to help you in the future as you do make decisions going forward. And so you're more clear on people's actions, people's motives, as you can watch something from a neutral position. So let's say, I don't know, let's take it out of like a less like weird context. Let's say, okay, I'm not too big into soccer, but like all my friends growing up were. And so San Diego used to have like the San Diego Sockers. I don't think anybody knows who they are, but they're our town. So we had the San Diego Sockers. Let's say the San Diego Sockers is playing Barcelona, and you don't care one way or another, like, whether it's Barcelona or the San Diego Sockers. So you're in this neutral position where you're able to see this one team play, the San Diego Sockers. I see how they're playing. I see how they foul. I see how they're, scoring goals. And I see, the other side and how they're reacting and kind of what their game plan is. And from this neutral position, you're able to see the motivations of both teams. Let's pretend that they're negative polarity and positive polarity. So I can see the motivations of both. I see how they operate. I see how the light side is operating. I see what their motivation is. I see how their actions work in this plane of existence. And I see what the results are of those actions. The same can be said for the negative polarity. I see like how they operate. I see what they're thinking. I see, what the motivation is behind it. And through their actions, I see what the results of those actions are. So that as I move forward and I'm making choices on my, for my own life, or for Easy Does It for your life, you can be like, okay, I know that if I made a choice, let's say I choose option A, I want to make this choice. I could see if that's more in alignment with my shadow self, i.e. my negative polarity self, or if that is more in alignment with my light self, my positive polarity self, because I can see how both are operating, and I can see very clearly the, let's say, the manipulations of the negative polarity and how that might actually be influenced, my ego and things like that in my own decision making, because I can see both sides so clearly that I could see both sides so clearly within myself. So that when you are making decisions and you're saying you want to be more on the light side, I wouldn't say that your decisions are actually neutral. It's your perception of things are neutral. And let's say if somebody came up to you, and let's go back to our soccer analogy. Somebody said, well, hey, Easy Does It, who are you rooting for? Are you for the San Diego Sockers? Or are you for Barcelona? And you might be like, well, I would say that I would like to be another referee on the field, or I might want to at least be a trainer or something, a helper for the San Diego Sockers. People will be like, what, but you're making that decision based on your own positive polarity, and the decisions you're making are positive, but they may look neutral to other people, if that makes sense. Because when I do tap into your energy, you are a positive polarity. But right now, your positive polarity self wants you to be very clear on both sides, so you're not so easily deceived by the other side. Because if we're only looking at, let's say I ignore Barcelona, I'm only looking at the San Diego Sockers, I have no idea what the tricks are underneath, with Barcelona. I have no idea what their game plan is. I don't know how their coaches, because I've only been watching the San Diego Sockers. And so it's very easy for my decisions to get tripped up. It's so very easy for me to be deceived. But that's not what your soul wants. Your soul wants you to be very clear on both sides, so that as you're making decisions that are inadvertently positive polarity, because that's what you are, you're clear on them, and you know if there's any influence from your ego or your shadow self, because you're able to see the other side so clearly. So for now, it may seem like, well, here I am just sitting in neutrality, that's for a reason, so that as you make your bigger decisions, they will be more in alignment with what you want, and you can see clearly where the influences are coming from. So I hope that helps. Easy Doses says, that's exactly how I feel. I do watch all sides and I understand both sides, so I agree with them both. The kids say I'm wrong when I'm not in agreement with them. But that's something that we can't control, even with our kids, our family members. We can't make everybody happy, but just knowing that since you can see both sides, and you can explain, both sides to them, it's their free will choice. If they want to look at things from a neutral point of view, or if they choose to only see one side or the other, what you're doing right now is you're giving them the opportunity to see both sides. That's what you are. With all the people that you interact with, whether they're your children or not, or me or whoever, you're giving people an opportunity to have another perspective, a neutral perspective. Because right now, things are very contrasted in this world. It's either you're light or you're dark. But where's the neutrality? Where's where we could see both sides, so that we have another option when we make our own choices. So whether or not people listen to you or see your point of view, that's out of your hands. But your soul is giving them another option. And that's something that is, it's valuable. It's really valuable in this world right now. Okay. Very Happy Monday says, I was focused on forming a question and didn't adjust the amount. Today's been shifty figures. Hey, no worries. So let's take a look. Very Happy Mondays. And thank you, Easy Does It, for letting me tap in. It says, greetings. Any word for my animals on the bridge? All right, taking a look at the Rainbow Bridge. Oh, thank you, Very Happy Mondays. Easy Does It says, you are spot on. Well, thank you. And I hope it helps. I do. Okay, so Very Happy Mondays. Let's tap into your babies crossing the Rainbow Bridge. Maybe there's something on the radio. Okay, it's the theme song to Three's Company. Take a knock on my door. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Something's waiting for you. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Three's Company too. Okay, so I don't know why Three's Company is playing for the Rainbow Bridge, but let's take a look at what message they have for you. Ooh, the King of Cups. So not a major arcana card, but we do have a court card. Very nice. You guys are bringing out the big cards. And Very Happy Mondays is cracking up. Okay. Okay. So something your animals would like to let you know is when we have pets in this lifetime, sometimes we look at them as perpetual children because they're small, they're domesticated, so they rely on us for food, for water, for shelter. And so inadvertently, and I'm guilty of this as well, I always call them my babies. Like my Presley was my baby, Precious is my baby, all these animals are our babies. My birdies were my babies. But they said that at a soul level, there is no age. And technically, if you wanted to put an age on it, we're all ancient. Your soul is ancient. Their souls were ancient. And animal form was just the form they needed to take in order for them to enact their mission, learn what they needed to on Earth, to help all the people that they interacted with, all the souls that had decided to come into interaction with them, your soul being one of them. So they want you to know that as they cross the other side, their missions are just as huge as they were here. And that even though they have shed their physical form, they said it actually opens up to more of their greater self, more of that ancient version of themselves. And they said, so there's no need to worry. They understand that feelings of sadness, and actually feelings, like all the gamut of emotions we have in the 3D world, is why they come here. They said, as animals, they said, we have the same gamut of emotions as human beings do. And so do plants, so do minerals. We have all these emotions. So they understand that when something feels physically gone, we feel that physical absence. And so we mourn it and we're sad. And so they understand that. But they want you to know, just remind you, because you already know this, that even though that physical form is gone, they didn't go anywhere. They said, when we crossed that rainbow bridge, it's not like we went somewhere. We're right here. They said, we're still with you. And sometimes it might be hard to recognize some of the things that you feel that are more 4D, like where you might feel something brush your arm, or you're feeling something emotionally, but there's no, external reason for it. They said, it's still us. They said, sometimes we have to remember what it was like to be in animal form to get you to recognize that it was us. Like, let's say we brush your leg, or, and then you're like, oh, that must be, my animal, my pet. But they said, we do that just so that you, the human, can recognize that it is us. They said, because if we came to you and it seemed more like there was a human touching your arm, you might not know that it's us. So we're continuing to try to remind you that we are still here. The easiest way for them to connect to you is through your dreams, because that's where all our, I guess, earthly defenses are down. We're more our spiritual self. And so it's easier for spirit to connect to spirit than it is spirit to 3D human. But they want you to keep that in mind, that they said, even though we may have relied on you for food, water, and shelter in the 3D sense, now that we've crossed over, they said, we're back to our ancient eternal selves. They said, we are not helpless. We are actually quite powerful on the other side. So we're happy, we're healthy, well taken care of, and we're still right here with you. So hope that makes sense. Very Happy Monday says, take a step that is new. Do, 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 do. Three's company too. Easy Does It's got the halos over there. Lilith says, my heart warms. So yeah, it's just a reminder that they're good. They're very good. They're doing okay. And I said, and if anything, they feel responsible for you. They said, it's like, oh, wait, so we gotta take care of Very Happy Mondays. Gotta make sure she's okay. Excuse me. A Very Happy Monday said, thank you so much. You are very welcome. Our buddy John, let me know what your question is, my friend. Well, we got the cards of slanging. How's our copal going? Ooh, time to add more, it seems. Yeah, there's still heat coming off of it. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. Put in a little more. See how that goes. Oh yeah. Smoking once again. Very Happy Monday said, thanks so much. This is they can take a me, ancient babies. All right, our buddy John says, can we have a message from the spirit of tobacco, please? Yes. Yes, there's to me, such an ancient energy with tobacco, hence why it's used so much in offerings. Okay. Let me make sure my sigi is lit here. I think this is running out of juice. Oh, I might need a new lighter. Oh no! Thanks. And a lighter just fell from the heavens. Thanks. There we go. Okay, John. I feel like I should smoke this while I tap into the spiritual radio. Very happy man says, oops, I meant to say they can take care of me. I thought it was going to be like that song. Take on me, take on me, take me on. Okay. Okay, tobacco, what do you have on the radio? Easy Dessa says, when are those smelling devices going to drop? We need to be able to smell all that. I know, right? Where's the smell-o-vision? Come on, YouTube. Get with the program. Okay. I believe this song is by Richard Marx. Down, wait, by the river, or I forget the name of this song. I swear I left her by the river. Something as the sun went down. Ooh. Do. I don't know all the words to this song, but I have it playing in my head. I swear I left her by the river. I swear I left her safe and sound. Okay. Very happy Mondays. I'll be gone in a day. Okay, so John, let's go ahead and pull that card from tobacco. I wonder why that Richard Marx song is playing. Hazard. Or no, it's not Richard Marx. It's it's the name of the song Hazard? I don't know. I just have it playing in my head. I'm not always very good at names of songs or artists, but I can sing the song. John's like, interesting. Lilith was saying sometimes she has the ability to smell smells intuitively. Ah, very interesting. Lilith, I think this song has come up before. Oh, ooh. That kind of goes with the song. I left her by the river. I left her safe and sound. 5 of Cups. That's almost like leaving something by the river. The cups, the water. Interesting. Why is that coming up for tobacco? Okay, so maybe it's even the cigar that's speaking. So tobacco's like, think about it, whether we smoke it as a cigar or, other forms, cigarettes people use tobacco for, or we give it as offering to our ancestors, at some point that tobacco burns up. Even if we didn't burn it, so to speak, it's going to disintegrate. It's going to become one with the earth again. Whether it becomes ash and it goes back to the earth, or I leave it out underneath a tree for my ancestors and it goes back to the earth. But at some point it goes from one form into another. And so in connection to the song, it's really just that lyric of, I left her by the river. I left her safe and sound. It's like, that's our memories. And oftentimes we want to hold on to things, but tobacco's like, I show you very clearly that we don't hold on to anything. The only thing we can really hold on to is the present moment. And we can have our memories, but we have to make sure, or we try our best not to let our memories become our present. Because just as this cigar was once whole before I started smoking it, I can't, or it's not telling us what to do, but it would be very difficult for me to live in the present if I was mourning what the cigar used to be. If I was really sad right now and I couldn't move on because of what this used to be, saying that, I don't want to move forward into the future. I can't move forward and stay here in the present because of what was. That what was meant to show us different avenues and what that led to, so that we could learn from it, so that we can grow, so that we can have a happier present, so that we can have, a more clear future. So what our past is our greatest teacher. It showed us different lives that we could have led. It showed us different directions we could have taken. It showed us different ways of being, whether we thought we made bad choices or good choices, or we were doing good deeds or bad deeds, or that maybe we were a bad person in the past. And, but if we continue to live there with that memory, then we'll never change. We'll constantly be back there in the past. And instead of seeing it as a teacher, it becomes our ruler. And so tobacco wants to teach us that life is all about, yes, learning our lessons. We can have these memories of me smoking the cigar, but not to live back there. Otherwise, I would never smoke another cigar again, because I'd be staring at the ashes of what was. And so I could never enjoy, the present. And so that's what's coming up with the 5 of Cups here, and that Hazard song, that Richard Marx song. Easy Does It said exactly, tobacco is very wise, I see. And Very Happy Monday says, it's fine, safety, relevant maybe. The lyrics are part reminiscing and part regret. Yes. And John says that impermanence is the gift. It's the form was eternal and it wouldn't be so special. It's a spiritual mandala. Yes. It's, to be able to, just like in the song, like Very Happy Mondays was talking about, the guy is reminiscing and regret. And so how is he living in the present? He must be very sad in the present, because he wants to go back there. He wants to be where he was. And but it makes it very hard for us to see what's right here. Kind of like what my Uncle Rudy was saying. My great Uncle Rudy was saying that he's had traumas. Yes, he's had a lot of traumas in his life. And it's very easy for him to sit there and say, I wish I could go back and I could, be angry at this woman who stole me from my mother. I am angry at my mother for never saying anything and just pretending to be the neighbor. But instead he was like, well, I can't change that. I can't, but it gave me an a perspective on people who would do that, who would steal a child, and what their motivation would be, and that perspective on a mother whose love was so great that she decided that for her own child's mental health, she would pretend to not be his mother. Like, for him, he was seeing that as like, that was a gift. Instead of it holding him back, it helped to propel him forward into the present. But I see that as what tobacco shows us as well, that and you can't really smoke a cigar really fast, I mean, you could, but you probably get sick, and so it's all about enjoying this present and just like thanking, all the time and attention it took to roll this tobacco, to grow it, to dry it, age it, and then have this very talented person take the time to roll it and then to ship it out. And then for me to be here to smoke it, it's like, I could dwell on all the steps that were, but then I wouldn't enjoy what's in my hand right now, which is the gift of life. That's why they call it the present, because it's a gift. John's like, I'm sick just thinking about it. I know, right? Yeah, don't smoke a cigar too fast. Also, don't inhale. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for letting me read for you, all our wonderful friends in here. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Please let me know if I did. I don't want to be a butthole. John said, thank you. You're very welcome, my friend. And this has been such a fun live chat. Ooh, let's see if you guys can see my bleeding heart. My bleeding heart. Isn't that awesome? And I know that my weird relatives think it's cool too, so that's why it's down here with them. I'm weird because they were weird. But you know what? It makes life more interesting. I'm happy to be weird. Easy does it's like, ooh, and John says heart and a heart. Meta. It sure is. I was like, what container do I put a heart in? Well, a heart dish, of course. Easy does it said this was great. Well, hey, let's get into the guided meditation. Oh, you know what? I never pulled a card for this week. So let's do that first. Then we'll go into our guided meditation. I'll have the camera kind of focused on this altar area with all the names that you guys sent me earlier in the chat of all your friends, your animals, your relatives. They're all here with us. So I want to do a meditation that's focused on what they would like us to focus on, what they would like to help us with in that guided meditation. But first, a card for Día de los Muertos this upcoming week. So of course I want to use the Ofrenda Oracle, which is kind of like a Lenormand, but it's also an oracle because it's got extra cards. So, okay, let's pull a few. Oh, hold on. One. Ooh, you know what? I don't think I've ever pulled the spiritual radio for the week. I usually do it when I pull cards for you guys, but let's see if there's a song for this week before I look at these cards. Okay. California Dreaming by the Mamas and the Papas. For a walk on a summer's day, on a summer's day. Do, 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 do. On such a wonderful day. I went to church up along the way. Yeah, I got down on my knees, down on my knees, and I began to pray. I began to pray. Do 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 do. All right, that's this upcoming week song. So let's take a look at the cards. Why we got the mamas and the papas. Mamas and the papas. Very Happy Monday says guided meditation is the sprinkles on the Sunday. And Lois says that song came through for me prior to the live for today's live. wild, girl. I mean, everybody in the freaking chat, we so synchronistic. Easy Does It's a great song. I'll probably have to play it after this chat's over. Okay, and by the way, don't let me forget, I want to put the recipes for that ponche and that champurrada in the description. So if you guys want to make it home, you can. All right, so we have book. We have, yeah, it'd be nice and warm if I was in LA, if I was in LA. And we have the key. And we have the lady, La Catarina. Okay, so let's put these together for this upcoming week, but also for Dia de los Muertos. So book, key, and lady. One of the candles started making noise back there. It's this one. The one I sent out for my Pima ancestors. Okay, so I'll hold it while I'll put it by the microphone. Maybe you guys can hear without burning my hair off. Okay, so what was coming through is that not just this upcoming week, but previous weeks, basically the previous month, there's so much information coming in for us. You might be getting like tons of downloads. We got spirit activity going on all over the place. We have, all the YouTubers. We have our own downloads that we get, cards that we pull, we put them out on the internet. And then you've got the news, it's got its information. You have friends and family, they have like what they think is going on. And, they've got some information for you. That it's because we're such seekers of knowledge and information. We want to advance ourselves. We want to be better. We want to grow as souls, that we're just like soaking up all this information. Like, what does this person say? What does this person say? And even when we're going into our own meditation, we got all of that information coming in, that sometimes the trickery is that we can get locked in too much information. That's the shadow in the light, because we say that there's light and shadow, shadow and light. So the shadow in the light is that we may have these very positive intentions of the positive polarity of wanting to expand our consciousness. We want all of this information, but sometimes we can get stagnant in sitting there and obtaining information that we actually don't move forward. And so this is just a reminder from our ancestors here from Dia de los Muertos, and for this upcoming week and moving forward, actually past this week, to, if you catch yourself getting caught up in too much information, maybe go outside for a walk, reground, go play with your pet, go play with your children, come back to the present, kind of like what tobacco was teaching us, except instead of living in the past, we're living in the future, because we're taking all this information about the future, right? That then we don't live in the present, because it's like, oh, we got to do this, and this is coming, and this is coming, and this person said this is coming, and the news said this is coming, this is coming. That we forget to live and be a human being, because that's also another reason we came here. Yes, it's wonderful to have all of this spiritual knowledge, and not that we should stop being seekers of it, but not to allow that to become everything that we are, negating the fact that we are also human. We're here to blend the two, to be human, but also to be seekers of that knowledge. So try not to let yourselves become overwhelmed. If you do, it's okay to turn off my channel, turn off somebody else's channel, or take a break from meditation for a day to just be like, I need to regroup and come back to being here on planet Earth in this human form, enjoying my children, my animals, my friends, nature, mom and dad, and in the meantime, trying to integrate things that I've learned, just try not to become overwhelmed. Hopefully that makes sense. Very happy Monday says gorgeous. John says to go inward. To go towards the flowers. Yes. Oh, all right. So, John, did you want me to pull a card for that? We could pull you another card for sure. But I like that message for us moving forwards, that sometimes the shadow in that light aspect is that we want to obtain so much information that we forget about the present and we become stuck in the information phase. All right. So John, yes, if you wanted me to pull you another card, I'd be more than happy. Says, no, it was a donation to go towards the flowers. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Well then, let's go into our meditation. I thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Let me move this stuff out of the way. Last of the Champurrada. Good stuff. Okay. Oh. Whoops. Just making messes wherever I go. That's me. Messy Egypto. Okay, I think that's maybe good right there. Okay, that way we have flowers. We have our relatives, also inviting on all the ancestors whose pictures are not here, but whose names were spoken earlier in the chat. Very happy Monday says this present appreciation coincides with the animal wisdom. They teach us to be present. Great confirmation. Okay. Let me make sure my tobacco is lit. Excellent. Okay, you guys, go ahead and find yourselves a nice, comfortable space, a place you'll be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be laying on your bed, sitting in a chair, perhaps seated on the floor on a pillow, or lying underneath your favorite tree. And as you begin to settle yourself, go ahead and bring your awareness to your breath, just noticing how you feel right now. How does your physical body feel? How do you feel emotionally? Maybe it's not just one word. Maybe you have several emotions at the moment. How does your energy feel? And we're just noticing this as we continue to breathe, how it feels when we inhale, and the relief we might have as we exhale. And I'm going to invite one of my relatives or friends, or perhaps one of my animals, to guide us in this week's meditation. Go ahead and continue to breathe. Hola, mis amigos. Gracias para bienvenidos. Y mi 7 en la ofrenda. Gracias para las almas, para la comida, para la agua. En inglés. Okay. You are at a portal. Standing without pain, freely. You feel light, almost like a bird or a cloud. In this light, in this portal, we are all here. All who you were, all who we were, all who we are is face to face in this portal. A que tú mires as you look into this portal, you see your ancestor who is helping you the most. Not that we don't all help you, but this one is muy fuerte, most strong. Look into their eyes. Into their eyes. Maybe you see a bit of the past, but their eyes are your eyes. It doesn't matter the colores. Es lo mismo, it's the same. They are you, you are they. Not to live as they live, but to know that you have their strength. They lived a full, complete life, no matter the length of time that they were on this earth, whether they lived 10 years or 100 years. Their life was full and complete in the amount of time that they were here. And that is what you take with you, is that strength in this present to live full and complete. It is okay to understand how we live, how we love, who we gave birth to, and how the tree grows. But don't forget to also give it water so that it can continue to grow. Water yourself. Live so that future generations could look at you in this portal, look into your ojos, and they can too find this strength for their present in the future. That you will become the ancestor, and they look to you for strength, that you lived a full and complete life. Su vida es muy fuerte. You give thanks to your ancestor for showing you this. And when you open up your eyes, you will remember they are with you. Again, not to live as they live, but for them to give you strength so that you live in who you are today. so that in the future, those generations will have your strength for them to live in their present. Muchas gracias, mi amigos. Muchas gracias. No es de adiós, es hasta luego. You are ready. Go ahead and bring your awareness back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and toes. And maybe have yourself a little stretch. All right. Thank you, everyone who joined us in today's chat, who allowed me to pull cards for them, for your donations, for your wisdom, for your stories, for all the names that you shared. Well, hey guys, for the pictures that you guys shared, thank you so much. Wow, speaking of animales, they're here. All right, thank you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and Feliz Día de los Muertos to you, your familia, your ancestors. Thank you. Let's see here. Kayla said, thank you. Lila says, I always wondered what's done with the offerings after the cause. For me, I like to place them outside. Once I feel like my ancestors are all done with the offerings, I just place them outside and let them either go back into the earth, or if animals need to take it away, I give it back to nature. Nature is my ancestors too. So at least that's what I do. Maybe other people do things differently. She said, thank you so much, beautiful. Thank you. John said, so much love, everybody. Same to you guys. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Mwah. Peace out. Cheers. Bye.